What's up, guys? This is Nick White back with another episode of Omaha Bound. I'm sitting here with my man Scotty Gange and Austin Byler. We're going to let Austin Byler introduce himself here in a little bit. But we do have opening week here with college baseball, so we're going to go ahead and break down the top 25 matchups that are happening this weekend, and going to kind of break down the Golden Spikes a little bit too, who's on the watch list, who's not. We do have the Golden Spikes winner returning, so it's going to be a great year in college baseball. Scotty, you want to say something?
Yeah, mostly just excited. I think, especially this weekend, we've got lots of good matchups, so I'm looking forward to breaking those down and, talking some Golden Spikes too.
All right, so I'm going to let Austin Byler introduce himself. He played with the Diamondbacks for a little bit, but this dude has his finger in just about everything right now. Every time I see him doing something on Instagram, Twitter, it's always something new. So give this guy a listen. He's doing some amazing things. Byler.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot, Nick and Scotty, for having me on, man. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day, man, to bring me on the show. But, yeah, man, grew up here in Peoria, Arizona. Went to Sunrise Mountain High School over in the west side of Arizona. Played with Nick for, 3 years, man. 3 years. We were the shortstop and third baseman, man, holding down the left side of the diamond, so that was a lot of fun. And then went on to play at the University of Nevada, Reno. Played there for 4 years, and then was thankful enough to be drafted by the Arizona Diamondbacks my senior season and took that contract and went on and played for the last 3.5 years, man. So now I'm back here in Arizona for a little bit. Just like Nick said, kind of have my hand in everything, man. Started an online baseball training platform focusing on the mental side of the game called Major League University, and something I'm very passionate about is baseball, especially the college level and the youth level, because I feel like we have a huge opportunity to impact a lot of kids and a lot of athletes, not just for the game of baseball, but for the game of life. And I think that if we can prepare these guys for that next level, the next jump when they're done with their careers, I think it's something that's really meaningful to me and my guys, and I think it's something that we can provide a lot of value to this level of athletes. So thanks for having me on, man. I'm super excited about what we got going.
Absolutely. Yeah, guys, go follow Major League University. It's a really cool gig. He loves working with young people, working with some college teams I think he worked with as well. He's got a couple buddies that play in the big leagues that are helping him teach as well. They're out in Hawaii, right?
Yeah, they're in the islands, man, out in the good islands of Hawaii, man. Bob Marley, let's get it.
All right, yeah, go give him a follow, guys. And we're going to break down the top 25 matchups that we have. Some of them aren't top 25, but we think that are very important. I'm going to start off with a school that I actually attended for a little bit. New Mexico is going up against Oregon State. As you guys know, last year's College World Series champion. Austin, kind of talk about that matchup. I know you've watched Oregon State, so you know a little bit about them, and you've played against New Mexico a lot with Coach Ray Birmingham down there. Talk about that matchup. How do you think that's going to kind of plan out?
Yeah, man. So as far as New Mexico, man, Coach Birmingham, great dude, great coach, and he's been there for a long time. He's really built a dynasty there in New Mexico and a big following, and those guys come prepared. They come ready to hit. There are some good players who are well coached, and they're definitely prepared for the game. But Oregon State, man, that's a powerhouse. As we know, man, they have been in the College World Series more times than I can count on two hands, and they are just a great squad. They're always really well coached. And I think the thing that sticks out to me is the discipline, the day-to-days, staying within the moment, and really keeping that end goal in sight. They expect to be in the World Series, man. So does New Mexico. They have a good squad this year. They're really looking forward to an exciting year, a bounce-back year for them, as I can see from last year. And it's something that growing up in the Mountain West, playing there for 3 years of my career and playing against New Mexico all 4, I got to witness them firsthand, man, and those guys come prepared, and they always hit. They can rake, and playing there, man, they come ready to swing that thing, and they're letting that thing rip. So it's going to be a good matchup, man. Oregon State's got a really good pitching staff this year, and I think it's going to make for a really good opening day.
Austin, I'm going to hit you with an early prediction. Oregon State, are they repeating this year?
They are not repeating. They are not, but they will probably make it, in my opinion. They are always an amazing squad, man. So I think they're going to repeat, or not repeat, but get there. I think University of Arizona, man, I got to give it to my guys, man. Those are my guys. They're that coaching staff. They keep their guys prepared, so I'm looking forward to those. And that's my sleeper pick. Sorry, we're on the Sun Devil channel, man. I'm probably getting some hate right now.
Yeah, as Austin said, UNM loves to swing it. They consistently are in the top 10 in batting in every category every single year. So really interesting to see how they're going to go up against the really good pitchers that that Pat Casey's ex squad used to, or that they pump out. So, Scotty, I know you know someone on Notre Dame, and they're actually here in Phoenix. You want to talk about that matchup a little bit?
Yeah, so Jake Singer, one good old family friends, he's a bit of like backup third baseman on Notre Dame, and so mostly just within talking to him through the years, thing I've realized with them is that they just have an extremely large load of talent on their team, and the fact that he was one of the best players in San Diego, which is a pretty hot spot for baseball, at least prep-wise, and he goes there and he's just blown away by all their talent. So they're coming into Phoenix tonight, take on ASU. If I had to guess, it would probably be a 3-game sweep for Notre Dame. They're a very good team. And Austin, I'll let you kind of predict that one too, but I think Notre Dame's going to really surprise ASU tonight.
Yeah, man, I think Notre Dame's got a good squad for sure. I haven't seen much on them, but I know historically they've had a good squad and they're well coached. And they're coming here for a reason, man. They're coming to the West Coast with a mission. Like all the East Side or East Coast schools, when they come over to the West Coast, they want to beat the crap out of these West Coast teams, and same vice versa, man. West Coast going to the East Coast. So ASU's no sleeper though, man. They're a good squad. They're always well coached. Coach Smith really keeps them dedicated, locked in from day to day, pitch to pitch, and I think that it's going to make for a really good opening day here in Phoenix. And if you're in the area, man, you got to go check those guys out. It's rare that you get an opportunity to see a really good squad that is east of the Mississippi and somebody that can come out here and put together some good talent, man. There's a lot of pro prospects on that field, man. One of the guys I know is Hunter Bishop, and I think that ASU's got some dudes in that lineup, and I think they're going to surprise some guys this year. I think they're a little underrated, and they're going to come out swinging, man. They didn't like how they finished last year, and they're looking to make for a good series. So if I had to predict, man, I'm picking ASU in that series, 2-1. I think they're going to get 2 games here at home. They're going to be fired up and starting the season off right.
Another big one we got going down here in the Phoenix area is actually TCU versus Cal State Fullerton. This is a top 25 matchup. It's happening at Talking Stick. Actually, it's about to kick off here in like 20, 30 minutes or so. That game's looking to be a powerhouse. You guys know Cal State Fullerton's been there, done that. TCU's program's really turned around since the 2010-2011 season when they made their first appearance. And it feels like every year either one of these teams are going to the College World Series. How do you expect this matchup to go?
Yeah, man, this one's going to be a big one. This might be one of the biggest matchups of the weekend because Fullerton, historically amazing team. I grew up watching them here in Arizona, and that was one of my dream schools, them and ASU. I wanted to go to one of the two, and unfortunately I wasn't recruited by either. But, if I'm looking back, man, I followed them a lot, and I think Fullerton always comes well prepared. They play in a beautiful area there in Southern California, and they're looking to make a statement early on in the season. But TCU, man, I watched their promo video, and those guys get it going, man. They got some dudes every year, and they're donkeys, man. That's that Midwest feel, man. You got that Texas team, and they're coming out here on a mission. They're extremely well coached, one of the best coached teams in the nation, in my opinion, and they're coming here on a mission. So for them to get out here in the sun, we got a beautiful day today, and get that game underway, I think it's going to be a big series. But I'm looking forward to seeing those guys play, man. I think TCU might pull this one out. I think they might have the upper hand, but Fullerton's got a good squad too, man. Don't sleep on them.
You talk the TCU promo videos. There's something special about the Texas schools and their promo videos, man. Their media department is just sick. I want to go to those schools just because of the videos they make.
Oh, yeah, the hype videos.
Oh, my God.
That actually funny backstory, Scotty. When we were in, it was Austin's senior year, it was my junior year. It kind of started as like a tradition for our high school coach to show us these hype videos before the season. They had like the first one in 2011, which was like Quiet Confidence, and I remember it had Matthew Perk, the lefty, nasty. He turned down, like he went 5th overall to high school, decided to go to TCU, and just was nasty. And that video featured that. Now every year when that video drops, like I get a notification so I can watch the new one. I just actually watched the other one that they posted this year, so I'm excited. TCU loves to swing it. Cal State Fullerton, I don't want to say small ball is their game, but they definitely know how to score runs very minimally. Like they'll score 1 or 2 runs and they'll just shut you down with defense. Statistically, they have one of the best defenses in the nation year in and year out. Their infield is 4 shortstops playing different positions. And to say that on one team that's in the top 25 is insane. But another top 25 matchup we have going on at Talking Stick is going to be kicking off at 5. It is the MLB4 Collegiate Baseball Tournament that they have going on out here. Like we said, Game 1 is going to be TCU, Cal State, Fullerton, and Game 2 is going to be Vanderbilt and Virginia. For those of you that don't know, Vanderbilt and Virginia played in 2 College World Series back-to-back, and they split. Vanderbilt beat Virginia in 2014, and then Virginia got revenge against that stacked Vanderbilt team in 2015 with Dansby Swanson. Walker Buehler was a pitcher on that team. But kind of talk about Vanderbilt, Virginia, College World Series, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, man. So this is probably the best matchup the entire weekend because, like you said, it's a rematch of the College World Series, and both of these teams are so prepared, man. Like when you watch them play, they don't fall to their emotions. You know, they don't show any negative emotion. They keep their body language great, and they keep their mind straight. And I think they come prepared for the game and the task at hand, man. They're coming here on a mission. They want to prove themselves, and all 4 of these teams this weekend is almost a preview of what we might see in the College World Series. So when you're watching these guys, man, take note of how passionate they are and just how they play the game, how they take care of the little things, because when you focus on those little aspects of the game, you start to really build a culture and build a squad, and that's what both of these teams have done. I'm thinking Vanderbilt's going to pull this one out, but this is a tough one, man, because both squads are nasty, man. Like a lot of big-time draft guys in this tournament deal. So Coach Corbin, man, he keeps those guys coached extremely well, one of the best coaches in the nation, arguably the best. And I think watching these guys, you can learn a lot from both squads. But playing against a lot of Vanderbilt guys and Virginia guys in professional baseball, you see how they are prepared for the next level. They're different than most of the other colleges. I mean, when they come out there, they're ready to play. They have a mission, and they usually excel in the professional setting. So playing in this big-time conference and the big-time tournament this weekend, I'm looking forward to watching this matchup, man. It's going to be an exciting one.
You got to give it up to I don't really know who planned this little group of 4 teams for the weekend, or if it was years in advance, which normally this stuff is. But tip your cap to that guy. Oh my God, it's Vanderbilt, TCU, Cal State, Fullerton, and Virginia. Like you said, it could be really one of the last 4 teams left, and all playing together in the first weekend of the season. So that's pretty cool, I think.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I know out in L.A. they actually used to do like something similar to this at Dodger Stadium because Vanderbilt actually played TCU in that 2015 season in like a showcase. They just did one game. They didn't really get a lot of fans, but that game actually had a huge impact on the following or what was to come with the SEC tournament for Vanderbilt and with TCU as well. I'm actually excited to see the Vanderbilt-TCU matchup. Both teams know how to swing it, and both teams know how to pitch it. It doesn't really get much better than that. But don't sleep on Virginia. I think Virginia's the only one that's not in the top 25 right now. Don't sleep on Virginia. Virginia consistently pumps out arms. Me and Austin got to see a few of those arms that were on that 2015 National Championship team firsthand in California. Remember when we played a team from that was at James River High School or something?
Disgusting.
They had 2 dudes going to Virginia and one going to VTech, and we faced all 3 of them in one game. A game that we actually won pretty big. We got pegged 8 times in the back by pitches, so it was a rainy day. It was rough, but those dudes ended up going on and winning a national championship there. So I think that's cool. So don't sleep on Virginia at all. But I'm really interested to see how Vanderbilt comes out and swings it. Not playing in Nashville, playing on like a big league field. So we're gonna move on. It's not technically a top 25 matchup, but we're gonna see. Last year's Golden Spikes winner, Andrew Vaughn, go up against Cal State Bakersfield. Do you just think he's going to hit like 5 home runs, started off early, Austin, or what?
I hope he hits 5 dingers starting off early because that'd be a nice series, man. But like I said, man, this can be a good matchup. Cal versus Bakersfield, man. Bakersfield's got a good team, and they've really improved over the last few years. They've started to build a culture there, and they're coming prepared, man. Whenever you play a Pac-12 team, you're out to get them. And the Pac-12 conference knows that. They're one of the elite conferences in the nation. Them and the SEC and the ACC are probably the top 3. So when Bakersfield's coming to town, man, they're ready to play, and they're out on a mission. They want to prove themselves early on in this season, and Cal's doing the same thing, man. They want to get off on a good foot. These games that are out of conference are big for your RPI, and they're big to get you into the playoffs because once you get into the Pac-12, man, it's ruthless. You got some squads, man. You got a lot of top draft picks and a lot of top teams in the nation that this is going to prepare you for that. So they're definitely excited, and I think that's going to be a good matchup, something that maybe a lot of people are sleeping on, but it's going to be something to stay tuned about, and I'm really excited to see what Cal's got this year.
I'm pretty sure Cal versus Bakersfield in every other sport would probably be a blowout, but baseball, I mean, it should be a pretty good series. Bakersfield, like you said, Austin, they're gonna come to play. They're gonna come to, I mean, show that they are a team that can play with Pac-12 opponents, and it's not football. I don't even know if they have football or water polo or soccer. Every other sport would be a blowout, but it should be a good series.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I'm actually really looking forward to that one. I'm interested to see if Vaughn can repeat as a Golden Spikes Award winner. Real quick, we were just talking about the MLB4 that's going down here in Phoenix this week. There is a matchup that I'm going to be looking forward to if it happens. It's Nick Ladulo from TCU. He's a left-handed pitcher against JJ Blade. Just a couple of weird last names, but hey, whatever works. You got to have a weird last name to be in the MLB, so these guys are set. But that matchup, JJ knows how to swing it from Vanderbilt. I've watched him since he was a freshman and when he was getting recruited. I'm not going to lie, don't really know a lot about Nick Ladulo from TCU. Obviously, if he's on the Golden Spikes list, then he's going to just flat out pitch it. So look for that matchup. Hopefully it happens a couple times, but Austin, I know your whole coaching staff that you had at Nevada is at U of A, but talk about your school in Nevada going up against Missouri State. Who do you have in that one?
Yeah, man, I'm obviously taking the boys in Reno, Nevada. I got to put on for those guys, but look, that's going to be a big series. It's not very often that playing in a smaller Mountain West Conference, probably a mid-major, that you get the opportunity to go and play a top 25 team. And for us, when I was back at Nevada, we got to go play Texas Tech down in Texas Tech, and they were ranked number 4th at the time, and we went down there and took care of business, man. It really helped us RPI wise and helped us ranking wise. So I think these guys are coming on a mission. They're prepared, they're young, they're ruthless, and they got a lot of good players, and they're extremely well coached. So I think with the discipline aspect, they're going to be ready, and they're coming off that bus, man, ready to swing it, ready to pitch it. They got a lot of young, exciting talent. I don't know a lot about their opponent, but the University of Nevada, man, they're a good squad, and I think they're going to surprise some people in the Mountain West this year, and they've got a lot of expectations behind them. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring to the table, and I'm pulling for the boys, man, the Wolfpack. That's my squad, man. Let's get it. Let's go.
One matchup that I think a lot of people are going to sleep on as well is Stenson in Virginia Tech. Nobody's really ever heard of Stenson unless you do follow college baseball and you watched the road to Omaha last year, and this team just jumped out of nowhere. They decided they're like, we're gonna be a baseball school, and we're gonna score the most runs in college baseball, and we're gonna make our way to a regional. Which, if you guys followed baseball for a long time, it's kind of like college basketball where you get that underdog that makes a run. Last year, Stenson was that team. They returned quite a few people. They're not ranked in the top 25 by any means. They also play in a small conference. But look for that as they open up against Virginia Tech, who is a big-time school. They know how to pitch it. They're all right at swinging it, but look for that matchup. But you brought up Texas Tech, Austin. They're going up against Oregon. Oregon, notoriously a great team. Texas Tech, we talked about in our last episode, has really climbed to that top of the college baseball world. Quite a few College World Series appearances since 2010 alone. Talk about when you played in Lubbock and kind of about this preview with them in Oregon.
Yeah, man, playing in Lubbock was an awesome experience. It was about 45 degrees. It snowed the night before, man, and we were like, oh, my, this is unreal. And so we got to the field, and it was a beautiful stadium, and a lot of people, the fans were ruthless. So, Oregon, you better be prepared, man. The Ducks, they're coming in there, and Texas Tech wants you, and that thing's going to be packed. You're playing a Pac-12 school. You know that stadium's going to be sold out. There's going to be a lot of people there, a lot of scouts in the stands waiting to watch, and there's a lot of good talent on that field. So playing at Texas Tech, man, it was a beautiful yard. The ball flies, and they got a lot of good hitters. At least when I was there, they swung it, and I know they're still swinging it today, and they've produced a lot of professional talent. And Oregon, they're coming in with a lot of good young arms, and they've got a good squad as well. They're looking to prove themselves. Like I said, the Pac-12, man, when you get these out-of-conference games, it's really big for your RPI, and especially on the road, trying to go out there and win a series. And that's what it's all about, man, is winning series, especially on the road. That's what separates the good from the great teams. So I'm looking forward to see this matchup, man. Texas Tech, I'm pulling for them. I'm hoping that they take 2 out of 3 in this one, even sweep it. But the Ducks, don't sleep on them, man. They got a good squad. They're coming prepared. They're a Pac-12 team that plays ready all the time, and they're out on a mission this year, man. They want to get to the College World Series as well, just like Texas Tech. So this is going to be a big matchup that I think a lot of people might be sleeping on.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said. Also for Oregon, last year was kind of an off year for them. So I think this is kind of a bounce back year because there was a lot of wins left on the table for them, and it really didn't go the way they thought it would. Everybody thought Oregon was going to be really good last year, and they just ended up being a mediocre team that didn't really have much of a climb. So I think for them, especially against Texas Tech, a good team, it's trying to start off this season the right way and trying to get themselves back in the national playoff picture.
Absolutely. Like you said, that they've been in the national spotlight. They've been a national seed going into the NCAA tournament, and they just haven't quite been able to make it to Omaha. Right. Texas Tech's like, bro, we've been there, done that. We've made it deep into the College World Series. So look for that matchup. But I'm glad you brought that up because Oregon did kind of have a downhill year where they weren't the number 8 national seed. They weren't, expected to do anything. So a team that surprised the heck out of everyone and did make it to the College World Series last year was UW. And they're opening up against UC Irvine, who another sleeper team that has made it multiple times and made it deep into Omaha, and that's UC Irvine. This matchup could be something great too. Could jumpstart a season here. If a team here takes 2 of 3 or even sweeps, that really sets them up for success as they go into their play. Washington with that little bit of a drag as they go through the Pac-12 and they face teams like Oregon State. They face UCLA's incredible pitching staff and a bunch of their non-conference games. But UC Irvine, if they can jump out and take 2 of 3 or even possibly sweep Washington, Byler, do you think that they could make a nice little run again this year?
Oh, absolutely, man. I think Irvine's got a good squad. They're always extremely well coached. And when I played them probably about 4 or 5 years ago, man, they came to town ready to play. We played them for a 3-game series, and their pitching staff was unbelievable. They just spotted up, man. They were disciplined, they threw strikes, and they got outs. And I think when you're going up against a good Pac-12 opponent who's a grinder squad and somebody who a lot of teams saw last year has a lot of talent and they're extremely well coached as well, it's going to be a good matchup. So anytime you have 2 perennial powerhouses going off against each other, you're gonna like what you see, and I'm excited to see what these teams bring to the table. But Irvine, man, those guys are anxious to get back to the World Series, man. They scrap, like you said earlier, kind of like Fullerton. They're a minimalistic type team. They like to win on a couple runs. They bunt, they squeeze, they do the little things. They play small ball, and Washington's coming into town, man, and it's going to be a good series down south. I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring to the table and see how they execute, because if Irvine can execute on the offensive end of things, I think their pitching staff's going to take care of it, and they might win this series.
The thing with Washington for me is I got to see him play last year near the end of the season, one of the last regular season games, and that was here at ASU. They're a team. Most teams in the Pac-12, you've got the star of Torkelson or Vaughns or UCLA and their pitching staff. Washington, they don't really have a standout player, but they've just got a lot of really good guys that work and gel together really well. So I think that was kind of what took everybody for surprise when they made it so far, is because they didn't really get that national attention with the big-time pitcher or hitter. They just got a lot of really, really good guys that work well together.
They were kind of like me and Tyler Crawford were talking about last week, that 2016 U of A team.
Right.
That didn't really expect them to go anywhere, and they went into Starkville and just beat the crap out of Mississippi State. Well, that's not true. They barely beat them, but they still won. It doesn't matter. But we got 2 more that we're going to break down. Long Beach State. If you guys remember this, they actually played Fullerton last year for a chance to go to the College World Series. Fullerton ended up taking it away from them. They traveled all the way to the other side of the country to play Florida, who was the 2016? I think so. No, 2017 champs. 2016 was Coastal Carolina. They're going to go face a Florida team that they never have an off year. It's almost like they reload every single year. Byler, kind of give us your opinion on SEC baseball. I know Tyler did, and Tyler talked highly about SEC baseball, and then talk about that matchup too.
Yeah, man. So first off, SEC baseball, man, those guys are donkeys. Like I said, kind of like the Midwest guys. Like, you got the big boys in the middle of the lineup, and they're there to rake. And then same thing on the mound. They got guys coming in, chucking it, and they're just a good team. They're always well prepared. They always come with a good squad. Like you said, they reload. They've got a lot of talent down there, down south. And Long Beach State, man, going across the country, that's not easy. Anytime you're going that long, 3-hour time difference, it takes a toll on your bodies, it takes a toll on your mind. But then again, it's opening day, and they're going to be ready to play. And they're an extremely fundamentally sound team. Anybody that knows about Long Beach State, it's almost impossible to hit the ball out of that yard. The ball does not fly, so they got to play small ball. They've got to hit and run, and they've got to execute on the offensive end to beat Florida, but I think that this is going to be a good series, and it's a big series for the West Coast because if the Long Beach State, if they can go over there and take 2 out of 3 from Florida, man, that's going to open some eyes, especially in the national baseball playoff picture. And I think that Long Beach State can go over there and do that as long as they execute on the offensive side. But that's not an easy task, man. You're going down south to the swamp. Those fans are ruthless. Those guys are big boys, and you better come prepared, man. You better bring your big boy pants. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, 2 things I see on that. One, for just, it seems like a lot of times Pac-12 schools, when they lose their teams, they almost they rebuild. You don't see the Pac-12 team, like in Arizona, go back to back to back, or ASU, especially right now. It's always there's a year off. For Florida and some other SEC teams, they're always good. And you guys both said it. They reload. They don't rebuild. They reload. And that's the thing that you kind of see out of SEC, which kind of separates themselves. And then also you talked about it with Long Beach State going out there. They're kind of playing for everybody in the West Coast because one of the better teams in the West Coast, if they go and get embarrassed at Florida, it's going to be a really bad look, and it's going to be something that kind of is a cloud over the head of all the Pac-12 and California schools for the entire season, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. They just pump out arm after arm after arm, but if there's a team that's going to take them down, it's going to be a small ball, bunt, hit and run, get them over, score that one run, and just kind of what is it called? Getting runs. I don't remember. I'm losing my track of thought. But producing runs in some sort of fashion, whether that's getting errors, walks, getting on base, however, and that's prime time what Long Beach State and teams like Cal State Fullerton do. That's why it was fun to watch them go head to head. So I'm gonna give my upset of the week, guys. You take your picks for games that you think could be really, really good or upsets. I'm going to go with an upset of Louisiana Lafayette taking down Texas. Louisiana Lafayette is playing Texas at home. Texas, as you know, went to the College World Series last year. They are in the top 25, and they're not very high. I think they're around 23. They're a team that doesn't bring back a lot of position players. I know they lost Roger Clemens' son, who was on the Golden Spikes watch list, which we're going to get to here in a little bit. So they're looking kind of like a rebuilding-ish year, which in the Big 12, a lot of teams don't necessarily need to rebuild. They are able to pump players in and out as they pull from Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, all those types of schools. But look for the Ragin' Cajun to take possibly 2 of 3, if not sweep the Texas Longhorns. Bug, you got yours?
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to seeing Nevada, like we said earlier. I think Nevada's going to go down to Missouri State, and they're ready to play. I think they're going to take 2 out of 3. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people, and they're going to put on for the West Coast, man, in the Mountain West Conference. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring to the table. A lot of young talent, like I said earlier, and they got a squad, man. They can pitch it. They can play defense. That's what they're going to come to do. So if they can minimize the runs on the defensive end, I think the offense is going to be good enough to really squeak themselves by that Missouri State squad who's ranked 24th and is looking to prove a lot of people wrong this year.
So Youngstown State plays Mississippi State this weekend. I'm not going to say they're going to win. I'm just saying they are playing. My upset of the week is definitely not that, but it is going to be Rutgers over Miami. We got to see Rutgers play actually last year at ASU, and I think they took 2 out of 3 at least, or maybe it was 2 out of 4. I think it was a 4-game series. So that's my upset of the week. I think Rutgers is a team that doesn't really get talked about a lot. They're not an amazing team, but they're a good enough team where I think they could surprise a Miami squad.
That would actually be really interesting to see. I might actually have to tune in for that one and follow that live stats play-by-play, however possible.
When Youngstown State is mercy ruling Mississippi State, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm actually glad you brought that up. Missouri State, for people who don't know, Missouri State's not a bad squad. They can swing it. They had a couple Golden Spikes guys a couple years ago. They made it to a super regional a couple years ago, and they hosted a regional, which is really, really hard to do at any program, whether you're SEC, ACC, whatever have you. That's really hard to do. They've turned their program around. I didn't even see them on there. Good eye, Bug. Another one to watch, just last one before we head into the Golden Spikes, is Minnesota Gonzaga. Both teams really good pitching wise. Minnesota and Gonzaga are actually playing out here, I think, out in Surprise. So look for them to kind of try and turn it on and jumpstart their season. So we're gonna jump into Golden Spikes, a couple watch list guys, and then we'll go from there. All right, so now we're going to jump into the Golden Spikes watch list. We picked out, I think it's like 7 players that we're really going to highlight today. I'm going to start off with J.J. Blade from Vanderbilt. First team preseason All-American, tears it up at Vanderbilt. He hit 368 last year. Dude's just an absolute mammoth, knows how to swing it. He has a lefty bat, plays in the outfield, can flat out run. He's from Panama City. Look for him to kind of make a jump up the board this year as he plays in his junior season and tries to climb maybe even that top spot. I'm going to say probably definitely first round looking at with the Golden Spikes watch list helping him out. Let's see how he plays in the SEC this year. Bug, you have another one.
Yeah, man, I think the one that stands out to me this year is Adley Rushman. And this guy's a catcher from Oregon State University. I mean, he is a beast. Hit 408 as a catcher, also plays football, so he's a two-sport athlete. 83 ribbies as a catcher with 53 walks and 40 Ks. So he had more walks than his strikeouts. That just says a lot about his discipline as a player. I watched him on TV a couple years ago in the World Series, and as a freshman, I was extremely impressed with this guy's presence, how he conducted himself, how he called the game, and he's just got a big league mentality. I look forward to seeing him go after it and win this thing because I think he's the front runner, honestly, in my opinion.
I'm going to go with the kind of the boring pick with Andrew Vaughn. His numbers speak for himself. Last year he had 23 bombs. He was just he was an insane player. 70 or 80 hits last season and hit OBP of 531. So he's the best player in the nation in my opinion. I think he's just going to get another Golden Spikes to his name.
Yeah, don't sleep on the fact that this guy can't repeat. This guy tore it up, hit 402 last year, which is so hard to do in college baseball, especially in the Pac-12 where they just pump out arms. A place where it's a little bit easier to hit, I would say, is in the Big 12, and that's where Josh Jung plays out with Texas Tech. We talked a lot about Texas Tech. We're all on the Texas Tech train this year as a team that could be very, very dangerous. Hit 392 last year with 103 hits, 12 home runs, and an OPS of 1.13, and an on-base percentage almost near 500. That's an insane amount for a first baseman, especially someone that they know that has a little bit of pop and that can hit to any part of the field. So look for him to go deep in the Golden Spikes watch list and kind of lead that Texas Tech team.
Yeah, and I agree with that all, and I'm going to go stay in the Pac-12 and go to our guy, the hometown man of Spencer Torkelson, the only person to hit more home runs last year than Andrew Vaughn. He had 25 last season. Of course, he broke Barry Bonds' record at ASU for most home runs for a freshman at Arizona State University. He did that in about, 7 games or something ridiculous like that. So I don't know if he's going to find his way to grab a Golden Spikes, but I do think that he's going to have really an impressive season and even find a way to get better this year than last year. Big thing that stands out last season, he had 38 walks, 44 strikeouts to his name, so I think he'll probably get walked upwards of 45, 50 times this year with his big bat, but I would not be surprised to see a lot of home runs fly out of Phoenix Muni this year from Spencer Torkelson.
Yeah, man, Torkelson, man, he's got a good swing, and I watched him play a little bit last year, and I was impressed when I saw he was only a freshman. It's like, man, this guy can rake, dude. Come on. So that's exciting here for Phoenix, and I'm staying in the Arizona, man, for my second pick. I'm going down south to the dirty south, man, them boys at U of A, and Nicholas Quintana. He's a third baseman down there at U of A, and last year he had 14 bombs. Not an easy place to hit home runs. It's a big yard. Ball doesn't really fly at night there, and they play a lot of night games. Big thing to look out for him as well, the strikeouts, man. He's got to cut down on the Ks, maybe have a little more discipline at the plate. But I think with this coaching staff there, the way they teach their hitters and having a firsthand experience with those coaches and the hitting side of things, Jay Johnson, man, he breeds players, man. He breeds hitters, and he had Chris Bryant a few years ago at the University of San Diego, and I think this guy can really compete, man. He's looking forward to an extremely productive season this year, and they're looking to do some big things down south, so I'm excited to see what we got here in Arizona, that rivalry, man. ASU versus U of A, a couple top-notch players, and we're staying in the Pac-12, man, keeping it on the West Coast.
Absolutely. And the last one I'm going to highlight is Jake Magnum. Tyler Crawford talked about him last week. This dude just seems like he has been in college for so long. He's going for the SEC hits record right now. He had 101 last year on a team that went deep into the College World Series. He also hit 351 with an on-base percentage of 434. The dude can just flat out hit. He gets on base. He finds a way. He doesn't strike out a lot, only 29 strikeouts and 288 at-bats, which that ratio is just insane by itself. Plus playing in Starkville, which is not an easy place to play. It is his home field, but still that place knows how to get rowdy. That's kind of some of the top picks that we have for the Golden Spikes watch list. Some guys to highlight. There's also Zach Hess from LSU to look at, as a lot of others around the college baseball world. Bug, I got a couple more questions for you before we wrap this up. First off, you did play for Jay Johnson down south. Talk about him and talk about what it was like to play for a coach that's such a coach's player, or a player's coach.
Yeah, man, Jay Johnson, arguably the best coach I've ever played for, and I would say one of the top 3 coaches in the nation. He's going to be a Hall of Famer one day, and to play for a guy who would do anything for his players, man, and not just during the season. It's outside of the season. It's outside of life. Even now, after retiring from baseball and not being there anymore, I can call him whenever I want, text him whenever I want, and he responds energetically, and he wants the best for his guys, man. So when you have a coach that puts his players first and makes you feel comfortable with yourself, with your abilities, and make you feel confident, that's the greatest thing in the world, man. That's what you want as a player. You want to play for a guy who would do anything for you. So when I think of Jay Johnson, man, I think of just an absolute stud. This guy just knows what he's doing. He knows what he talks about. He knows what he preaches. And he gets his guys to play at the top level. He gets guys to play better than they're supposed to play. And I think as a coach, as a head coach especially, that's what you need to do if you want to be one of the greats and if you want to win more College World Series rings. So he's looking to make a run this year, man, and I really just love to see him and that coaching staff get after it down south. I've been down there a few times, man, and to witness what they do and how they practice and how disciplined they are as a team and how energetic they are. It's incredible, man. So I'm really excited to see what he has to offer this year. And he was my favorite coach, man, to play for. He was just a great dude, and he understands the players aspect as well.
And Austin, before we go, I know we talked about it a little bit right at the beginning of the show, and we got a chance to kind of look at the MLU website a little bit. What was it, Nick? Like last week or 2 weeks ago, and it looks really cool. I just kind of wanted to hear from you. Like, what's the little mission statement of MLU, and what are you really trying to get out of it? And because for me, it looked like it was really, really awesome.
Yeah, man. Basically, what I'm trying to do with Major League University is really focus on the mental side of the game. So we want to prepare athletes for life and allow them to realize what their identity is. Because a lot of times that I've noticed in professional baseball especially, and even college baseball, that a lot of athletes, they don't have a purpose. They don't have an identity. They don't know who they are. So when their season's done or when their career's done, they're wandering, man. You're fed to the wolves is how I like to say it, because you go out into the real world and now you're not prepared. And I think baseball prepares you for that next step in life if you let it. And I think our mission is to really just help educate athletes on the mental side of the game and to help them discover how powerful they can become with their abilities, because it's something that I was fortunate enough to have at an early age in college and be brought onto that side of the game. And it really impacted my career, man. It helped me play better. It helped me live better, and it helped me be a better teammate to my guys. So we're really just looking to really inspire guys and help them achieve greatness and realize how powerful they can become.
One of the most unselfish players I've ever played with was Austin Byler. Like you said, I played shortstop. He played third for Sunrise Mountain High School here. So we've always had a close relationship. Probably the dopest pre-game handshake.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
We're better than Francisco Lindor. We're better than all those guys. Man. Let's go.
I always loved hyping him up when he went up to the plate. What was the walk-up song again?
Still Dre.
Still Dre.
That was my walk-up.
Every time Still Dre came on, everyone in the dugout would just yell, uh-oh, and they knew. He hit like 538 his senior year, just absolutely raked. Real quick, going to give you guys some stats on Austin. Like I said, he played at University of Nevada, Reno. Absolutely tore it up. Hit 328 in his senior year, had 14 bombs. And 198 at bats. You play third base or first base this year? I know you mixed.
First base. Third base the first 2 years. Then I got told I wasn't an athlete, man. I moved to first base.
He's not an athlete. Dude went in the 11th round?
Yeah.
You went in the 9th and then 11th, right?
9th and then 11th, yeah. So 9th junior year, and then my senior year, I went back to school, and then 11th round that year.
And went back to school to play for a team with Jay Johnson, a team that's probably the biggest snub out of the playoff that I've ever seen, out of the NCAA tournament. Something like 42-14. This team got left out because it was a Mountain West team. Talk about what it would have been like as like a smaller school in Nevada to get that opportunity to play, because you guys were on a roll that year.
Yeah, man, being a part of that team and that culture, it was just really started from the top down. I mean, we had a lot of senior leadership. We had 6 guys get drafted and go on to play professional baseball. And to be around a group of guys who were just dedicated and on a mission, man. We had probably 3 freshmen who are now in pro ball, a couple sophomores who are also in pro ball. We just had an energetic squad, man. 8 of the 9 starting guys in our lineup hit over 300. I mean, we raked, and we had some arms too, man. It was incredible. But as a mid-major school where you don't get a lot of love and you really got to prove yourself, to win over 40 games and then get snubbed, I'll never forget it. I'll always hold the grudge. But you got to look back, man, and you just got to cherish the moments that you have on the field, because you're around your guys, you're around your teammates, you're around people that you love, and they become your family because you're around them more than you are around your family. So you are who you spend the most time around, and I think just being a part of that culture, something that Jay Johnson really sparked at that university for the few years that he was there, it was incredible, man. I'll never forget those moments in my life, and it was probably the most interesting and exciting time of my baseball career there at Nevada.
Absolutely, you can never get rid of that family that you have in any team in sports. Last thing, Bug. By the way, I've been calling him Bug. He has so many nicknames: Byler, Big Ugly, Bugly. Like you name it, we've had these nicknames. He actually came up with my other nickname, Slick Nick. That was it. Slick. Yeah, Nicky. Oh yeah, we had them all. But real quick, before we cut this off. We did it with Tyler. We both did it. The way too early College World Series predictions. I'm actually really interested to see what you have to say about this one.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to seeing. Let's see here. I'm looking forward to seeing the University of Arizona. I think they're going to definitely be a favorite. I think they're going to get an opportunity to go there. But I think a team like Arkansas can go in there and really do some damage, man. They're historically a good squad. They always come ready to play, and they've got a good squad this year, man. Another team that you need to look out for, like we talked about earlier, TCU, man. They're ready this year, man. I think they're coming off not a down year, but maybe not their best year that they've had, and I think they've got a lot of talent there. And if they can start it off this weekend, get on a good foot, and get that momentum going, I think they're going to be a team to look out for here as we approach April and May towards the College World Series.
Who do you have winning it?
I've got my boys at Arizona, man. I'm sorry, man. All the ASU fans probably want to stone me to death, but honestly, I'm looking forward. Yeah, they turned it off. I'm looking forward to Arizona, man. I think that they got a good squad, and just spending some time down there, I think seeing the culture and noticing how they prepare and how they approach the game of baseball, they're ready. And I think that I got to put it on for the West Coast squad. I think somebody on the West Coast is going to win it, and I'm hoping that it's Arizona, man.
So you got the super sleeper coming out of the Pac-12. Yeah. There's like 4 teams on the top 25 there from the Pac-12. And he's like, I'll take U of A. All right, guys, that's all we got time for. Tune in next week. We're going to kind of recap what happens this weekend, and then we're going to flow into previewing for next weekend as well. It's going to be a good year. We're following college baseball. We're going to turn this up a notch and have a little bit of fun, bring this more to the light so that way you guys can enjoy baseball as spring training gets started and as the MLB gets started. So this is Omaha Bound, and tune in next week, guys.